That's what. There you go. We're recording. I can't get to YouTube right now. It said no, so we're gonna take the old-fashioned way. Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys all had a beautiful Wednesday. Miss Barbara, will you pretty please check our hearts and then we'll get started?
Yes, I will. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we come before you, Father, thanking you, Lord, for all that you do and continue to do in our lives. Father, we thank you, Lord, for your Holy Spirit that continues to guide us. Father, we thank you, Lord, that you are a God of restoration. Father, we thank you, Father, that without you, Lord, we are nothing, Father, but with you, Father, we know that there's so much that we can do, Father, and with you in control. We know that you are in control. We thank you, Father, for your guidance. We thank you for your protection. We thank you for your wisdom. We thank you, Lord, as we stay steadfast, immovable, always abounding, Father, that your word is faithful, and we know we can rely on you. And we give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 9 minutes till market open. What do we got? Did not go back in yesterday and take a bunch of trades. For that, I mean, for where I'm at in my trading futures prop firms journey, I'm proud. For like my regular trading journey, a little bit of shame, but I'm glad that I did not go back in. I just simply missed a move, wasn't in love. You guys already know, prop firms use code 6FTC. Check out the link. You guys get the idea. It's a small way to support us to help us grow in the direction that we're trying to go. So let's talk the market. Yesterday, we already know, everybody knows, we took all-time highs again and again and again and again and again and again. Overnight, so the all-time highs are currently yet again sitting not in normal New York hours. So can we pop up and take this level of liquidity before we get any kind of retracement? Sure. This little gray box I drew is not just an area of interest. We can make it blue or gray. Literally, it's just the 50% from yesterday's big move to the upside. So I've really been tracking that a little bit to kind of get my bias on the day. If I'm only looking for the, 10 to 30, 40 points as I move around my contract sizes, I don't need to catch the entire move. I just want to make sure that the move I'm catching is right. So this is kind of helping me a little bit. This is 50% as well from the low to high. So looking just at the big picture, either way, obviously there's a ton of liquidity left behind. There's a ton of the market needs to rebalance. But in this exuberant market with the government shut down and tech leading the way, we don't know if we're going to get that. So on the hourly time frame, we're getting pretty tight. Like we are sitting very tight. I kind of don't want this on our chart to kind of mislead us, but we're sitting at this nice little bullish flag, if you will. But again, there's a lot of liquidity left behind. So on market open, are we going to wick down? It's a lot of points to wick down if that is what's going to happen. Although it's not the first time it would happen. We talked about that 200-point move, what was it, a couple days ago, and we got it. We just got it a little bit later on in the day. So can that happen before we push back up? Sure. Can, of course, the alternative happen where we kind of take the higher side liquidity before we move to the downside? Yes, I'm not coming into the market today with a bias. But yesterday we had flipped to red on some of the daily time frame kind of confirmations. Now we're back to green. However, we've got a lot of imbalance left to the downside, so that just makes it a little bit hard, right? I personally, in a perfect world, I would love to see us. I don't even think taking pre-market low is going to be taking a lot of liquidity. So I would personally like to see us, oopsie, that's only 30, 40 points to the downside. I don't think taking this pre-market low, which is London low, is going to be taking liquidity. Can it be? Sure. But there's just so much imbalance to the downside. So I guess on that note, pre-market high, yesterday's close, yesterday's high. Those are all the key levels that we need to know about. So I'm going to go down to the smaller time frame. Gold is back to moving up. We got a nice little overnight retracement. It's a mess right now, guys. It's a mess. We already know we're literally in the 4,000s. We're at a whole number, an enormous hold number. So please, if you're trading this or doing any wild things, just know it's an irrational market right now. I mean, it is what it is. You don't get to decide, neither do I. This is obviously going up. There's nothing stopping this from going up right now. So let's not try to fade this until we have a big reason. And right now, on the hourly time frame, we'd have to start taking lows before we were really considering any kind of major sell. And right now, we don't have any.
Yeah, and
So
that pullback didn't even go back to 4,000.
yeah, we didn't even go back to that whole number. We stayed there for a little while. We stayed below it just a baby amount of time, one day, And then since then we haven't come back to retest it. So there's a lot on the market right now. Let's play it safe. Let's get our trade. Let's try to become the community where we get green, we get off the screen, which includes all the never-ending trade attainments. YM is a little bit more sell side heavy. ES is looking pretty comparable to, I mean, yeah, pretty comparable overall to NQ. Maybe a little smaller move, but still, and sitting much closer to the high and the yesterday's closing price. We've already kind of taken above yesterday's closing price, whereas we have not done that since, I guess that's pre-London. This still counts as pre-London. We haven't even taken yesterday's closing price since pre-London. So pop up. From here to here, that's another 30 points. 30 points either direction, 60 to the all-time highs. We've got 200 to fill this imbalance. But on the day, we just have so much buying pressure. It is painstakingly difficult to try to sell this market. But we're getting pretty tight. Everything's going to be up. Everything's going to be up a whole ton since yesterday. NVIDIA, 0.2. Pre-market. NVIDIA's up a lot in pre-market, you guys. So that's going to be enough to pump this. Last hour, 0.25. That's going to be an awful lot. Everything else sitting pretty flat. And on the day, pre-market change. AMD, NVIDIA. So we'll see. We've got enough stuff pushing us up. Tesla's down 1%. But this alone could be enough to really push this market still to the upside. So be mindful of that. No big news or measurable news, I should say, on the calendar, mostly because of the government shutdown, but that's subjective because we're still like releasing it. We had the report from FOMC yesterday, but it still wasn't it? So today we've got news coming up. It's only very, very, very not red folder. More Fed speeches. And we're gonna see. We're gonna see together. So I'm gonna go down to the 4 or 5 minute, no, 2 to 5 minute, 6, 7 for those of you guys who have teenagers and think that for some reason those numbers are funny. Everybody thinks those numbers are funny. If you haven't seen the viral trend, I honestly am ashamed to say, actually, I'm not ashamed to say, I don't get it at all. Like not even a little bit. Don't get it. It's a nice little buy. Nice wick to the downside. Our indicators are back on. We're rejecting off of VWAP right now. But rejecting is the wrong word. We're pushing through it. Here comes opening bell. So this is an easy, only 21 points to take that. It is not a bad way to be at all. Nice sell to the downside. This is the 5 minute time frame. I'm gonna reluctantly go down to the 2 minute. A lot of volume on the table. For opening bell. Either way, even on the 2 minute, we need to really close below this, but by then we could already have taken pre-market lows. So let's see what we can get. But it's got a strong wick already on that 1 minute, so we really need more oomph than that. Ideally. We're waiting. We've got a minute left, and that just flipped to bullish instantly, man. Instantly flipped right back to bullish. Didn't even get to come down here to pre-market low. Back to bearish. 30 seconds left on this candle. The range itself, as we decide which direction we're closing, it's about 30 points right now to give us an idea. We're still just in this very tight area. We really need to kind of get outside of this area before we get any kind of major decision. And that's not just because of the breakout box or, breakout range of the orb, but we've got all of this overnight action that has just kind of held us in place. Going nowhere. We're sitting at midnight open, yesterday's regular RTH close. We're sitting below yesterday's. Wait. We did end up closing bearish, so that's something. But nice strong wick to the downside. Is this an easy sell just to come at least take out pre-market low? Possibly. That's 24 points. But we have no follow through. We have no confirmation on either direction right now to really be confident in making a decision. I like the sell. 24 points. Potentially. But we just have nothing. We are below the VWAP. We are below the moving average. We're kind of trying to get below this kind of smaller time frame little trend, this little wedge. Looking to sell down. We've got a pivot point at 240s. That is far away. And now we're out. Selling by market. Hold on. Let's do this. Selling at break. Don't need to give it that much room. I am going to lock out as we take pre-market low for sure. And then I would be targeting all the way down into here. But no matter what, I took this trade on Ninja this time. So I'll also pull it up over here so we could see it. I just placed the trade on Ninja. So that's the 293s. 293. And we wait. This is 71 points just to come kind of retest that mid-level, but that might be way too easy of a trade. Way, way too easy. We didn't really take London lows or pre-market lows. We kind of stopped short of that. 2594. 2593. We're pulling back up right now. Wait. I think one thing I like about Ninja Traders, it shows me, hey, well, I currently have it set to points in all fairness. I'm up 4 points, I'm up whatever points. That's kind of cool. Or 3 points, or I'm down 3 points. Instead of the dollars, I like that a lot. This is gonna activate, ish now. Oh, these are different settings because they're the ATM on Ninja Trader. So that's not. But I have no flopped contracts. Not a lot of points, but I got no flopped contracts. I will take that. There's a crappy amount of points. 503, 28, 7 points. Horrible management. But we knew we wanted to lock in here. I still think the trade is valid. I will look for another entry as I get a second, but let's wait and see kind of how this next couple of candles form out. Today's message is brought to you by, I'm entering on NinjaTrader just because I'm trying to see if that's going to be the next solution. If I enter on Ninja, I can still show here or whatever. If it's not going to flop the contracts or like have any hesitation in the close. And I don't want any hesitation or, hey, we bought and then it resold. And it hasn't done that. But I haven't taken a lot of trades in that method, in all fairness. Not a whole bunch. And I think NinjaTrader is a little clunky. Overall, we are in we got selling momentum. We broke through a much higher time frame trend line. We've got bearish everything. Our next major targets are going to be those 240s-ish. 230s, 240s. Right now, I'm just waiting for that confirmation to kind of keep us bearish. But we failed to stay below pre-market low. London, we tapped into London lows. That is an interesting view. We have 7 minutes left on a 15-minute candle. We're bouncing off the 15-minute 50. We're really getting below on the 1 hour candle. Still flat. This is a 2-minute time frame. We've got 15 seconds left. There's no imbalance up here just yet, but we haven't really got any. We've got breaks a little bit, but we haven't got any follow through. So got a baby scalp. Technically, it's worth more points than what I cashed in at, but it's worth 15, 20 points-ish. I got like 7, but I don't have my management set up on NinjaTrader super aligned because it's a little different on Ninja than it is on Tradeovate. Still like the sells though. Sells still valid. Still very valid. Below our 240s, we've already got all the way down to like 25 100s. That's going to be a pretty big ask, but right now we're trying to get below pre-market low. If we can maintain that and retest even on the smaller time frame, I'll look to re-enter. Right now I've just got the 1 entry. Nothing worth writing home about. Poor management, but I'll take it. I like the sells. Five minutes left on the first 15-minute range. And we could push back up on that 15-minute range too. So figure, God, that's 180 points just down to the 183s. But I'm not in love with selling until we can get below the pre-market low. We're working on it. What are you guys in? What are you guys looking at? What do you guys want to look at? I took a sell on MNQ, well, NQ and MNQ, depending on the account and the size and the liquidity available. I still think overall we've got some sell side pressure. However, I'm not looking to re-enter. We've got lots of wicks of rejection bouncing off of pre-market and London lows. So right now I'm holding my hands, sitting on my hands. Need a bit of a, preferably a retest back in, but we might, I will need to close below pre-market low and retest with smaller time frame. Or retest back into kind of the moving average. Got 20 seconds left and 4 minutes left on the 15-minute candle. What does the 4 hour look like? Well, now we're losing it. And there's way too much stuff. We got a nice pump, but we need the close below. I need the close below pre-market low. We closed with a wick. So hopefully we can get kind of a bounce back in and a flip. We might not. $240s and there she goes. Remember that halfway back is going to be the 25, or the 230s is going to be the 50% mark. We've got 3 minutes left still on this 15-minute candle. I don't think we're going to pump all the way down into here in 3 minutes and then back up. But we could. It's opening bell. Maybe. It's 38. It's only 38 points. Entirety of the move is not bad at all. That 50% coincides really well with the 243s and the pivot point. It's going to bring us right into that range. Beautifully into that range. Maybe that next 15-minute candle comes down and taps these and then retests. I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait till the next 15-minute candle forms. Good morning, Take Profit Thursday. I like that. Take Profit Thursday. Hey, who's got any good book ideas that you would read to a 15-year-old that's going to give different words, different stories, adventures? My idea is The Alchemist. Anybody else got one? I wait for this 2 minutes for this next 15-minute candle to pop in. Something that's like lighthearted, but mindset, oriented, positive, or adventurous that is, simple. Chronicles of Narnia series. Okay, that's good. Narnia. That's a good one. Very long though. I don't know if Debbie, that's mom's name, is a reader or not, but I'm not, I'm running out of stories and words, finding ways to use the word bobcat. Like just something different, right? Something new, some other topic. So I'm thinking Narnia is good, very long. I'm thinking The Alchemist, very good book. Very, very good. Because it's story oriented. Very good book. We're forming the wick, guys, on the 15-minute time frame. Got our first little, that will be an imbalance on that 15-minute. It decidedly will.
Ender's Game might be a good choice.
Okay, I like. Anything that gives you the will to do something, a reason to get up to fight, Ender's Game, I think, is a great, great idea. Narnia is good too. It's just so long. But it's got so many cool words too that a wardrobe. No one talks about the word wardrobe.
Well,
No.
too, like it's a whole series. So even like if it's the oh gosh, what's the one, the silver chair, or the there's so many books inside the series. And
There is, yeah.
yeah.
Narnia is good. I'm gonna take all three of those one at a time. There's the rest. This is our next 15-minute candle. I think we're coming down into this area easy. Easy peasy. Even from here. that gives us 30, 40 points. So that's not a bad way to be at all. We're trying. Got our entry. All right, what else are you guys trading? What else are you guys looking at? I want a little bit. I'm hoping this next 15-minute candle is failing to really break out, which is silly. There's, hold on. That's 2 of the 48s. 48s is a pivot point. We've got 42s. That's all the way. That's all still within this like 50% little range here. So I still think this is a great target. Obviously, you have to be sized appropriately for that to kind of give itself an opportunity to play out. If you're oversized, you can't afford to hold that move or to take that move or to give it the time it needs to play out. There's that next 1 minute bullish pump. We've got 30 seconds left on this candle. And we wait. We wait.
If this hourly candle closes like at a similar position, then that would be a really good look towards more potential on the downside.
Yeah, but we're going to close with the wick. I just hope it pushes down at least the 242s and then pumps back up. So that gives us 13 minutes to, but we're already starting to pump back up right now as we speak. So let's see. The 5 minute, this candle is gruesome. It's just holding steady. Minute.
And we'll also have the close of the 4 hour coming up as well.
That's 54. That's a 20.5 minute wick right there. 20 points, guys. Buying the bounces. Just keep doing it. And that pushed straight back up hard too. Two minutes. I still think big picture wise, this is going to be a great target, but we'll see. That this forming such a large wick on the hourly time frame. We've got 10 minutes left on this candle, on this hourly candle. I still like down here, which is a lot of points, but it doesn't mean we have to hit it. We kind of are bouncing off that that's not even. Because yesterday's RTH mid is, I've got 209s on an indicator, but looking at that versus what I draw is always a little off. So I have it kind of set at 237s. We haven't even touched into the mid. So this would be what, a 38% retracement on yesterday's move. That's where we just instantly bounced off of aggressively. In the 15 minute, we've got a baby imbalance. So we took the London lows. We've got a baby imbalance still to kind of come in here and fill. To what, come back down? Nope. Don't love the sells with this look. Not with how this is looking.
Yeah. It should take me out if it fully takes this 15-minute candle. It'll take me out with a loss. I entered on the close of the 15-minute.
The close, so you entered a little bit, not quite at the bottom of the range, with the close of that 15-minute candle.
Yeah. I actually had 2 entries. I took like a little scalp, then I got out, and then I took my regular one with a lower size on a 15-minute close because it's what I'm supposed to do based off of my trading plan, but might take me out I missed out on the other one too. That yesterday, that 15-minute opening close bullish candle. That was technically supposed to be my entry, and I never took it. So I didn't take a trade for the rest of the day. I just kept running. So win or lose, I'm just sticking with what it tells me. If it's loss, then it's a good loss, and then I'll look for maybe one more opportunity if it presents itself.
I love it. How's it going for you? Is it working?
Yeah, it working. And if it doesn't work, it's because I didn't follow the plan. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So
I
the only
like
way to do it is submit to the plan.
and to take the losses and where they are. But days like yesterday are they're a head mess to not use the other word. They mess with your head a little because that's the day we should have taken it, but for all the reasons I feel like I had good reasons. AES was a mess. YM was a mess. It was really hard for me to be very confident about. Holy moly.
Right. Let's, let's see that now. I don't know what this is. This may still very well take me out, but just trying to hold to my guns. One thing I know that can mess a lot of people up, and I'll speak for myself, that can mess me up is if I'm in a position too heavy and then you get that little pullback like that, which all that was essentially a pullback towards that candle filling in that gap or whatever. You're gonna get out. Because when you see that you're like 50% or 30, even 30% of your account on drawdown on just one pullback, then that really can mess with you.
Yeah, the micros are hard for that, but they're hard for the gains, but honestly, they let you take this trade and let it play out. Like it's going to play out. You'll either be up or down, whatever your risk is. Mine's about 175, so that kind of maxes out around 200. I know that if I have a partial profit at 1-to-1-ish and 2-to-1 is where I start to trail on like my micro setting, I can let this whole move play out like amazingly. But if I'm on a mini or if I have 5 micros, you can't really afford this whole move, this whole pullback on most accounts. Better on an Apex account. Like you can't afford that on an Apex.
Absolutely. How do you feel too? Like one of the things that I'm gonna try and work on better too is that like if I have a setup that's showing that it should be an entry, but maybe for whatever reason maybe I form my own personal bias and I don't feel it's the best opportunity, but it is technically a valid entry. Just going in with lower size.
Um, I've been thinking a lot about that. So like I was looking at some of my rules yesterday about if I want to take trades that, for example, have larger than a 30-point stop loss, if I just don't want to participate in that, because sometimes those are great moves. It was just a voluminous move, right? I think if we were trading FX, we wouldn't be looking so much at things the way we're looking at them, where we'd say, hey, this is, the size for this trade. We take it. So if it's a day like yesterday, we could have taken just a smaller position and then seen where it falls. But to me, that's a double-edged sword because then we justify taking the larger position on a tighter move, which is what trips us up. So if it's only the one hand and not the other, which typically it's not, I would be all for it. Like, cool, let's just go in at a smaller size. We'll take the risk, very, stream worthy just to be in a trade for the sake of being in a trade. If that was the only behavior up for discussion, I'd say, yeah, cool. This is a different setup. So because of the way ES and YM are moving, I'm going to go in a lower size. But the truth is, no one ever talks about the other side of that thought process, which is typically something along the lines of, this is a great setup, or things are all aligned. So now I'm going to go in at a larger size. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So if it's only the one side, I'm mostly for. I don't have a big against it. But since it's never one-sided and we're all very human-brained, I would probably say no. But what do you think about that? Because I mean, no, I just feel like too many people don't think about that side of it all.
No, I love that feedback and that honesty as far as viewing both the yin and the yang of the outcomes. Because I was sort of thinking the same thing that what if you are wrong? It's one of those things that now you're sort of just like you're doing intuition, like when you're trading, getting in and out of trades as opposed to taking the full profit. So that's sort of like a similar version or relatable version of that with your sizing and whatnot. Um, I think it can work relatively as long as even when you take your bigger size, as long as it's not something that is going to blow you up, but it can mess with your overall numbers, especially for a month. The times that you're taking the bigger ones, if it didn't work in your favor, because again, we don't know. Again, you're just You just feel there's a higher percentage based off of, the technical analysis data or the comfort that you have with your instrument and whatnot. But it's not a given, because if it was a given, you'd go full margin.
Yeah. It's always the both sides of the spectrum, and I'm battling with myself again with the whole taking all these baby base hit scalps, because I know that my model and my entries are mostly good for 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. And now, granted, they're not always. Sometimes you literally, because of the size of the market, it's barely 1.5 to 1, and sometimes it is a 7 to 1 or whatever. The problem is we often don't catch the 7 to 1s for one reason or another. Okay. And constantly just closing for that smaller amount and then taking the full losses, the risk to reward or the profit factor or whatever you're using to track isn't there, it's not lining up. So I'm still battling with myself of, do I just become the flat in, flat out, let's say 1.5 to 1, or how I can better do that side of the management, the in trade management. So, because it's always the time you're really sure is the time you didn't do the super tight scalp out. The time you're really sure is the time the time you weren't sure, you just took the 10 points and it dropped for 200. Okay. It's always, and that's just the axiom of trading, I feel like. So having the steadfast, I'm going to do this, and sometimes it's going to be worth 20 points, sometimes it's going to be worth 10 points. I still think I'm personally a little bit in the middle on that middle management of how I can better do that. Because I feel like the people who are doing the best, they take 1 to 3 trades a day. Okay, if we take some of the people, not just the gurus, but the people who've gotten payouts, not just the bots on because there's a lot of bots on these prop firm pages that look like, hey, my name is, Jessica Chinese, and I have 3 followers, and I just got my 19th payout. Those are little bot accounts that are making, trying to hype up this prop firm. So we know not all the stories are real, but let's take the ones we do know reasonably well are real. They take a couple of trades a day, number one. Most of them are flat in, flat out, or the people who've got the hugest ones are almost always flat in, flat out. Okay, the ones who have consistent payouts, though, too, I feel like are the ones who take the base hits. So if we take those things that we know for certain and we just do our best to apply them, we can't always go off the, hey, this is an A+ setup. Oh, they also don't do, they all do A+ setup concepts, many of them do, but they don't change the size on the setups. So for those reasons alone, I feel like those are the things where we can kind of do the work and improve on. Just because let's look at what works. The only reason I'm sticking with prop firms, the other prop firms are all kind of helping me stay green, helping me stay in the black-ish mostly. My biggest goal, truly, honestly, is just to get the 6-7 figure. Originally I was saying 7. At this point, unless I trade only on Apex, like only on Trade it's probably going to be, I'm going to be very happy with a $500,000 payout. But my big goal is the big payout. Otherwise, I'm much better off with the $10,000 of my account of my own, withdrawing, $2,000 to $5,000 a month, and then withdrawing more as I grow it. And it's literally the same cost, way less nonsense. So if my goal is a prop firms, I need to learn how to cultivate my rules around the prop firms. Slowly but surely is what I'm doing. Slowly. I was hoping to do it by the end of this year. I was like, cool, 2025, I'm gonna get good at this, I'm gonna do it. I don't think, just by how many weeks and days are left, I don't think I'll hit the 6 and 7 figure. I could still hit the 6. I don't think I can hit the 7 payout, 7-figure payout in 2025. Because I wanted to say, hey, look, I learned futures in a year and made 7 figures. Like that was my goal. I'll probably be able to say that in 2, but I don't think I'll be able to say that in 1. I don't think so. I'm trying though.
Make it more difficult, especially if the New York sessions keep moving like they've been moving the last month.
So yeah, 100%. 100%. And we're always gonna say that though. You guys know me well enough to know that this is chop now, guys. Be careful. Like I've never been the person to blame Brexit or the government shutdown or the this, that, or another, because I personally believe that at the end of the day, the market is the market, and sometimes it's choppy, and sometimes it is the most perfect up move we've ever seen in our life, and you weren't even in it, okay? I wasn't even in it, so that's never the circumstance. The outcome is what you put into it, and I think that kept me afloat through Brexit and presidencies and different market conditions in summer and JPY nonsense. The government did whatever the heck they were doing over there with the JPY, is just knowing The market is crazy, and your job is to learn how to work with crazy. Okay, that's it. And why it's crazy today, whether it's Aunt Nellie, whether it's the, I don't know, the tornado in whatever city, whether it's the president, whether it's the Brexit, whether it's Hussad, I don't know. Like, doesn't matter. Our job is to work with crazy, and no matter what the blame is on the outside, just that's it. Baby steps. Baby, baby. Guys, okay, so it is 10:01. We've got our first 30-minute close after New York Open. So I'm looking at all these charts. So, and I'm rearranging my office. I'm very excited about it. I got new furniture, a new desk, and I'm buying all kinds of new nonsense just because I wanted something different. But here we go. A tail on the bottom side, not enough to grab any major liquidity. Okay. So we're not looking for buys unless on the smaller time frame we get kind of that break of structure and retest to kind of confirm we're moving up. You can do that even on the 1 minute period. Obviously, there's some imbalance left behind. Sells are hard to get short here because we've got quite a few pivot points. I do think we've got enough points to even just grab that. We're still in that 30-point range potentially that says, hey, look, we got some room here. But just trade it, with smaller size so you can afford to let it pull back a little bit if it needs to, because it might. We've got a brand new hourly candle that just formed. And let's look at that hour as well. At least for this candle to come take the wick before we get the retracement, because that by itself is still 20 points. So that's a safe little move to the downside. But either way, we've got the wick here. We've got liquidity and imbalance kind of just to rebalance the market all the way down to like 100 or so points. And now sell idea is still valid. And we wait. I like this to sell down at least into here before we get the retracement. But again, we've been getting moves like this just with no turnaround, and then we get the edges, the creepy, crawly moves. So patience is a virtue.
Appropriate time of year for creepy crawly things.
Yes, very, very, very. There we go. Back up on the hourly. 15-minute is looking rather stuck. We're getting stuck there. This,
Yeah, that doesn't look good on the 15-minute, but
it does not look good.
looks like it wants to go back up for sure. We'll see.
Well, this is a doji, but this also took all that liquidity already. So close has a really big doji, but we've got bearish. Everything is still saying be patient. Very, very patient. In order to really buy, so we broke. We technically took London lows, made a new low, New York, took that level, come back up. Let's see what we get. Let's see. Hopefully a little bit more of the sell down. Just a little bit more. At least come tap in to the 40s. But it's not looking like it. It's looking pretty bullish. That's 50s. 35 points to 40 points. Hard not to get trapped up in this area. Very, very hard. So we wait. As long as we can kind of stay below that moving average a little bit and stay below pre-market low. Because we broke, we retested, we came, made a lower low, we retested. This is a very nice retest. So now in theory, we got to hit another level before we get the pump, but there are no rules in the crazy market. Our job is to learn to work with crazy, and that's what we're doing. Big picture, not a bad trade. That's what I mean, like just holding this move without all the nonsense. Just hold on to it without the nonsense. That's a 3-1. Even with the full kind of into here, you're still at 2.5 to 1 versus getting knocked out. Again, I still think there's a little bit more room on this, but we'll see. That brings us into the 33s. And then this will be decision-making time. Not just because of the little box I drew, but because we've got yesterday's RTH mid, we've got multiple pivot points, we've got the yesterday's point of control closed out at the 205s, 206s. Very common to come back and retest that level the next day. So we can stay bullish on the day, but maybe retest this level, or we can turn bearish on the day if we take that level. $10 and yesterday at 10 o'clock, hold on. This was that's noon. So at 10, this was the first high we made before taking that out. So kind of a significant little area of interest we have all the way across the board here. But we're looking like we're not even going to get to it. It looks like we're trying to push up. Moving like so slow. Seven minutes left on the 15-minute candle. Don't love how we pushed down first because I would have really liked it to push up if we were going to be going down. I would have really liked that. But that other 15-minute candle, taking out that whole entire candle the way we did, the second 15-minute candle, kind of beautiful. Minute and a half left on this 2-minute. You want to close below here to take it down. To give you an idea, even if you're waiting on that close, you're still going to get, ish 20-ish points, maybe more, 20 to 40. But I try to lowball my targets because it keeps me a little safer. Safer from the nonsense. I'm trying to lose it. Gonna put a high limit to knock out some of 234s. I think we're easily coming down into here. So just patience. Last one, we're trying to have patience. I'd like to see some oomph. A little more bearish oomph would be lovely. It is not the bearish oomph that I wanted. $10.10. $243s. Lows of 251s. See, we can't get. It's going to make us wait and wait and wait. Randy is going on a cruise. I wonder what line. I'm gonna have to ask him when he comes back. What cruise line he's going on. Who's taking any major trips these holidays that are coming up? Like how this candle's bearish. I'm trying. Well, we were trying. Let's see. It's like watching paint dry, you guys. 15-minute candles got 3 downside wicks. I'd like to see them taken. Potential little head and shoulders that we're forming right now, but which would be to the upside. I still think we have about 40 points to the downside. We're going to see if we can get it. Eh, maybe, baby. Maybe. We broke through that little flag we formed. Nice wick off of the moving averages. We're still below the VWAP, which is kind of curling up. We're forming bearish candles, which is awesome. Least to come, the lows are at 51. To come take the lows, that's already decent chunk of points. That's your 17. So we've got a decent range, but right now we're not getting the follow through. Only 2 minutes left on this 15-minute candle. Next candle could push up. So if you're trying to look for one more entry along with this sell side bias, this sell side direction, we might want to wait till after that 15-minute candle forms because we got that nice close, but pump down unless it pumps down so fast that we can do nothing, which very well could happen. But can also pump up so fast. So fast.
Like you have a little bit of molasses left in the jar and you're trying it to pour out at the opposite end.
I know, and look at I'm never gonna forget it yesterday, you guys. It was so clean. It just like took off, like no one was watching it. And now today you're in a position or you're clear in your direction and it's like drip, 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 drip. What anybody else using any kind of new or different, I should say, not necessarily new, there's nothing new under the sun, but different confirmations or confluences? Again, I told you guys I was going to go on a kind of a YouTube purge personally. I just think I've thought for a long time, I think social media is the deficit to society, but I also think in terms of trading, it's a lot. So I'm not going to fib when I say in the last 6 months, just again, looking for anybody who mirrors lots of props at the same time, looking for all the things that I was looking for. I picked up a lot. I picked up a lot in the last 6 months to a year that I don't know if they're helpful or not, looking at the daily bias of this, looking at, the things that I had really never considered or thought about or some of which I didn't know. Okay. Some of which I did know but never used. Stuff like the BX. It's a free indicator on TradingView. You look at it on the daily and it's where you get your bias, and then you only look for trades in that direction, right? Pretty simple. I really like the one that kind of gives me all the levels. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think any indicator is. What is it called? Session open, high, low, close. It gives you so many different levels. And again, I think they're a little off, but it just lets you know when there's a big clump of things happening right here, it's worth looking at, right? The volume point of control, knowing where the daily low of the day, the volume area low is. If you're breaking through that, you've really got some bearish pressure. If you're not breaking through that, you don't, right? I never really used volume profile as much, but I do think that the point of control has a lot of control. I think it has maybe, I would dare say, I'm sure everyone would argue with me, but I think it has more value looking at levels than like the VWAP does. Because VWAP is to me like a different weighted 50. Like I don't really think it's that profound, but something like the volume profile, on the other hand, I think there's a lot more value there because it's giving you where the control is, where all the most orders are sitting, which is kind of huge. And when you can see the value area high and the value area low, and then you see how price reacts around those levels, let's say you have a value area low that you're breaking through, you can be a lot more confident of that sell because there's a lot of pressure. Let's say you have a volume area low and you're sitting at pre-market low and you're bouncing off of it, you can be a lot more confident of that bounce buy or once you get the confirmation. So the problem with all that knowledge is there's just too much, it's just too much, information to be good. Vastly too much information to be good. But here we go again. Brand new 15-minute candles forming. Lots of wicks. We're coming up on 10:30 now. We have officially taken pre-market low. Because in the last 45 minutes we failed to break this level, all you bounce players and range traders would be great looking for this to buy up as you get confirmation. I still think big picture we have some more sell down, but might have to bounce up first a little bit before we can take that. We'll see. We've got 3 minutes left. And we're sitting below the, what is that called? SVP. I'll pull it up. Still trying to sell. Maybe this is the candle we kind of come and sweep this area and then we pop up. We're just not getting any follow through. So this right here is where the point of control is. But right now, I'm going to pull this up. Value area high, value area low. Make that kind of a pinkish color. Make this kind of a pinkish color. And it's constantly developing. We're still pushing down. It's like right here, we were getting stuck, but as we kept staying below, and we're still below the value area low. So we've got a lot of pressure to the downside for us to be below that. So in theory, that would mean we're coming to take this level or a level. This is just the ones that I'm looking at before we get a retracement. So it makes you a little bit more confident, but it doesn't mean you can't get the retracement first. I mean, you can definitely do that if we get back above this, and this is going to shift throughout the day. And the cool thing is you can also see, in theory, where yesterday's value area low. So this is yesterday's value area low. Sorry, yesterday's point of control sitting right in here. 205s just makes for a really magnetic level to come and hit. If we're coming down and breaking, we end up breaking this. I'm taking the 205s. If we're taking the 205s and we're closing below, I'm looking for my next areas for a reaction. And I'm just going to do that over and over and over again. But I got to get better at holding this and not having weird management that just takes me in and out. Because I can get 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 trades with an 80% accuracy or better even. But it's a balance. Got to work on the management. Happy trading, everyone. We're getting stuck now to the downside. All right, anybody have questions, comments, things you want to go over? Gold is finally red on the day for the first day in many, many days. We are down 0.82%. So everybody should be screaming their tears of joy right now. We just tapped into this value area low, point of control. We're below the VWAP. Wait for a retest. Again, we're not in a bearish market until we get back below those hourly lows. NQ is going nowhere fast. ES is really stalling out too. And we kind of did that all night too. We just stalled. So we made a small move, not a huge move. It's 0.2%. It's not a bunch. ES is still pretty heavy. NQ is still pretty heavy. It's just slowly heavy. So not looking to get chopped up in this area. 9 minutes left. On this 15-minute candle. to what? Sell down to lows, that's 17 points, and then here's your 30 points. I think we got the direction right. It's just taking some time. Just taking all the time in the world. There we go. Now she's moving. Huge wick right back up.
ES just tagged the weekly VWAP.
The weekly VWAP.
Yep, it's the wick just slightly penetrated it. Coming back down to it though.
You have to program that to the weekly, right?
I have
A
an
different
MT5
one.
indicator that shows me the daily, weekly, and monthly on my chart.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Yes, we had this level marked up from a while ago. I think if we're to sell it down, we're coming back. Oh, actually, we marked this up yesterday in class. The gentleman was asking about it. So I think that's going to be a great target for ES. I think NQ is really struggling. I don't know what pre-market. Let's go last hour. Hold on. Nvidia is up 2.56%. Everything else is looking pretty red.
So Nvidia is keeping the market up on NQ.
I think so, because look, this is a 5-minute time frame, another strong wick to the upside.
Yes, yeah.
So we barely broke out of that 15-minute range, and 6 minutes left on this candle. It's just going nowhere. Whereas like ES is not down much more. This is down 0.25%, whereas NQ is down 0.24. But it's just moving cleaner. This is the 5-minute chart trying to get out of the chop. YM. And back to ES. This is a good place to get chopped up because we haven't really moved that much, especially in compared to like yesterday, where it was so clean, was like 1 point something percent. This is the biggest volume of the day, and all we've done is move 0.24% on the day. So we really haven't went anywhere, not yet. Just no follow through right now on these moves. 5 minutes left on this current 15-minute candle. We just took the 15-minute range. We took the orb for all the orb traders. And now we're waiting. I think we came in just barely tapped that kind of the pivot points on the 15. We tapped into this area of interest, where we'd be drawing them if we were drawing area of interest. I don't really draw them too much anymore because I see them so well, but it's right in here. You already know that their area of interest. And we're still trying to stay below the value area low. But that's it. So choppy market, we got our trade. I did not get very much out of it. I sadly got a couple of points using the ATM on Ninja Trader. It is what it is. So we wait. I still think big picture, let this play out, let it go up and down and all around to maybe get, and that includes pullbacks, okay? Then the pullbacks are not going to be small. They're probably going to be 50 to 60 points at least to kind of come back into this range. As long as we're staying below kind of that opening price on the day and we're not taking out those highs, we broke out of this area, which is all we wanted to see, was breaking out of that area. We got it. I still think we've got another, what is that? 30 to 40 points to the downside. So beautiful trade overall. It's definitely not bad. It's just like not moving very fast. We've only got 3 minutes left on this 15-minute candle. I'd like it to close more bearish, but even if it does, it just means we're going to bounce up aggressively, more aggressively than we want to for sure. We're not even closing outside of that range just yet.
It doesn't look as nasty on the 1 hour, depending how that if that's the second candle actually closes lower.
No, 1 hour looks clean. You just got to be patient for this to play out. Very, very patient. That's all. The 1 hour looks, you're confident in it for the most part. We know we've got even down into here, which is a huge amount. Even the tip top of that imbalance is going to still put you at 100 points. The bottom of it is 179. I'll be happy just with the 50 points. Like 50 points, I'm good. I don't know why it won't give it to us. So that's just we're in the 55s down to the 33s. Or 50% of the 15-minute range is going to be down to the 212s. But Jonathan, you're holding that position like all day most days, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. On average, assuming like it doesn't go directly, like catapult to your, my targets, most likely you're going to be in a trade at least an hour, 30 to 3 hours. And then sometimes it may take the whole New York session to play out for sure.
If you're trading the 15-minute orb as your rules, where are you targeting? The one
Um, Usually, so for like a 1 to 2, so 2 to 1 RR. So in this
And
particular
what's your
case,
one based on? Is that the opposite side of the orb or
yes.
50%? Okay.
that would give us how long have you been doing it? What's your accuracy right now? Or
I've been doing it for at least over about a month, about a month and a half actually. My accuracy ranges right around, I would say about like 65%. Um, it could be better if I actually don't involve it. If I actually just let it play out on its own, then the accuracy should actually be 70 to 75% if I let all trades play out.
And at 2 to 1.
Yes,
flat in, flat out, no management.
no management.
Well, that's what you're aiming for, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get it. That's not bad. Not bad. Plus, it's peaceful. Like I think the most attractive thing is it's just peaceful.
Absolutely. And, what a lot of the times too, and what I've been trying to work on is that sometimes I'll be waiting for like, especially on NQ, like sometimes I'll be wanting that retest and you never get the retest, but I had an opportunity for an entry. Um, and that's why I've been sort of just following like sometimes I'm not going to get the price action that I have in my head that I want. So I'm just taking the entries where it shows that it's a valid entry to take and let it play out. Sometimes that bites against me, and sometimes it doesn't. But one thing I do know is that I'm usually more prone to blowing up an account when I miss an entry as opposed to taking a loss with adequate size, appropriate risk management size.
Same. I think I'm more prone to like the blowing up and the dumb personal decisions when it's something like I missed a day like yesterday. One of the reasons I was like, I'm out is because I knew without a shadow of a mind, like if I did that, I was gonna trade differently than I should have been trading 100%. Just 100%. Like, so if the tech goes against me and I'm making losses that aren't even fairly my losses, man, that messes with my head. If I missed the entry like a day like yesterday that I literally came to the market, was like, here, I'm looking for this. It's 60 points to the upside. Pretty confident of it. Just want, the confirmation. And then I saw the other ones. That's the day where I'm like, I knew it. And like the psychology just gets to my mental emotions. So not trading on those days, it's the days, those are the times I mess up the most. But back to
Oh,
the
for
15-minute
sure.
orb, that's awesome. It just feels peaceful to me. It feels very peaceful. Have you considered the 5 minute though?
I have. I think I may have eventually move down or whatnot. But I think I'm gonna do the 15 for just a little bit longer, make sure that I'm at least accurate with that, and then go to the 5 and vice versa. I think that's the main reasons that it's just for me. I guess mentally I haven't figured out a way to not tilt on the 5. Like I can have like a week or so, everything's good. Then I can have that one day that if something goes wrong or mismanagement or some sort of error, I can tilt, like I can blow up easier on the 5 minutes because of the more opportunities for entries. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Another time that I'll use the 5 is that if we're in a trending day. So let's say for like a New York, the 15-minute has already played out and it's not showing that it's going to pull back or anything, then I may go down to a 5 minute and then continue with the same direction and then take like my one entry going with that same direction. It's not a normal practice, but on days that are very trendy, I may, resort to that.
Nice. Nice. And just for clarification for myself and for others, when you prove that it's successful, you're not just talking about dollars and wins, you're talking about successful in terms of your ability to follow the system, right?
That's exactly it. Yes, ma'am.
That's kind of, I super agree. I wish more people would hear that. And for anybody listening in, or I know listens in on recordings, it's not just the entries you take or the system or the strategy you're using being quote profitable or quote better win rate. It's your ability to follow it, and I wish more people would be targeting that than anything. Like I super do, because even myself, I can be a winning trader, but that doesn't especially in the prop firm world, it doesn't equal dollars. It doesn't matter if I have a 90% accuracy rate. It doesn't matter. All those other things that we think are so important aren't the part that matters. It's your ability to follow the system. So like Robert, he's doing really good following the system. He's very I think he's stuck right now. Just he needs some new methods. So maybe doing like a 1.5 to 1 on every, 5 minute breakout he trades, he might find more success versus trying to trail by candle. Or like at least when you get 1.5 to 1 or something, or 2 to 1 or whatever he wants to do, maybe something, then you could start trailing, but don't trail before that kind of thing. Because even with the automation, which is something I can't seem to code in, we're still talking about is how do we start the better trail and trail by candle at a certain, risk to reward. Because right now it's trailing so quickly that it just gets you out so quickly. So the win rate is great, but the dollars versus loss is still, but the profit factor is showing good, but you guys get it. So doing something like you're doing, flat in, flat out, and just saying, hey, wait, the rules first, profitability, and the other stuff second. But I think you're gonna do great on the 5 minute too. Not to push you there because you found peace on the 15, and I want you to keep your peace 100%. I'm finding peace on the 5 minute as opposed to like the 1 and the 2. Just a
No,
ton.
you're absolutely right, and you make a valid point too, Jenny. You always want to once you show that you can do something consistently on one end, you want to always grow as a trader. That's what you always do within these classes. You always are finding different ways, different opportunities, different ways to look at the market, whether it's automation or a new actual strategy or optimizing on the strategy. So that's always good. But it's always great to get the consistency in one place and make sure you've been doing that, and then your confidence level builds up as you go to another strategy or sort of I guess, change your strategy up a little bit to try and optimize on it. And the funny thing is that with all this and the managing, that was sort of one of the things that we didn't have to worry too much about when we were using the ATM for the most part on the forex side,
I know.
because that pretty much did all of that for you. You just had to make sure your sizing was right, and so it's sort of like emulating that. So that really lets you know how beautiful a thing that was that you know you and Scott put together. That Scott made with your strategy and whatnot. It was just awesome.
It was, it is awesome, 100%. One last question for you. Are you going to break even at like 1 to 1 or anything, or just 100% flat in, flat out?
100% flat in, flat out. The only time that I would do break even if there was like a news or something that was gonna come out and I see that we're stagnant, or if it's like sort of the end of the day, the trade took a long time to play out, or it's just staying stagnant and we're almost at the market close of the day, the power hour and that sort of thing. Then I may consider just closing my position in the positive.
Okay, nice. Very, very nice. You guys, this thing flipped to longs and I don't know how. Yeah, I have yet to figure this out. Somehow I'm in 1 micro long, which is fine. It's playing out. I'm up $18, $20, 25. But it should not have flipped. So this time it worked out nice that it flipped, but still. It's a problem. It's toxic. It's a stupid, stupid, stupid. And I am not a quitter, you guys. Like I figure stuff out. Period. I'll work in silence. I will solve anything. God has been incredibly good to me. I am not a quitter, but this brings out some quit in me that I have never had in my life ever.
Is this the copying thing that's
Yeah,
messing with you?
it flipped to long.
That's wild.
It should not, like there was no logical reason. And again, I closed it for a couple bucks and I probably break even or whatever that equals, because there's always fees. But if it exited, it should not have flipped. And this time, every single trade I took today was on Ninja Trader. None of them were on Trade of 8. So it can't be the connection there, because that's what the guys in the forum say is, oh, well, if you just do it on Ninja Trader, it's fine. I don't think it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine, guys.
That is,
I
so
get
it
the
hit your buy
impression it's
limit
not
in the
fine.
swaps?
God, what did you say, Jonathan?
Is it because it's hitting the buy limit and then it just flips, like it doesn't close it out like at a even? It just goes the opposite direction on the buy limit.
Right now, so today's test is brought to you by there's no order rejecting handling turned on. So they said, look, turn that off and trade on Ninja Trader. It's going to solve everything. Okay. So I tried that today. Ninja only executing on Ninja Trader. So figure I scaled out of some and I had my last order down here. So it should have just closed me flat and made me flat. But for some reason, it opened up a single contract, which again, this proves that their math isn't mathing because
Well, remember it's a summing market. So if it miscalculates the scaling from
yes,
your master position, it
that.
might be instead of you know, buying 5 to close everything, it might be buying 6 because of a rounding error.
That's what I think is happening. And I've tried, and that's thanks to your brain, Scott. Honestly, you get the credit. I'm like, look, I know this how this stuff works, but it has got to be a big portion of the problem has got to be the calculations in the multiple orders. They have a setting that says quantity. So basically, like you type in there and you hit a quantity of how many contracts you want in a mini or a micro, and it should be taking that many. And they also have a setting that's multiplier. So basically, it'll multiply whatever the master account is. If this is a 1 or a 2 or a 3, this is 3 times that, right? The original master account. So I personally believe 1,000% that the issue comes from a big portion of the issue has got to come from that, because when that happens, again, let's say some of these accounts were in 4, 3, or 2 micros. That's how many they were in. And then I had 2 or 3 accounts in a mini. Okay. All of them opened up under 1 micro. So all of them, even the ones that were scheduled for minis, opened up in 1 micro. even the ones that were scheduled for 4 micros, closed the position for the sell and opened a single micro contract. So that has to be something to do with that calculating issue. And I don't know why we can't talk about it. Like I'm not big on complaints or whatever. Like I'll be the one to help you figure it out. It's my $5,000 to $10,000 I'm blowing on these decisions and mistakes, right? I'm okay with that. Like 100%, I'll pay the piper, but I want to be able to talk about it. Like, can we please talk about that calculation process because something is not functioning well? Because Scott, if you heard that, and I know your brain is, there's quite a few in the room who are brilliant, but I know Scott for sure. You heard if it did that many things wrong. So remember, it went in this batch of, let's say, what is that? 15 accounts, okay? Some of them, what should have been a mini was now a micro. That should not be happening. Some of them, again, it's scheduled for 4, 3, or 2 micros. It went to 1. So that should not be happening. And then the third thing, so this is 3 topics, not just one, is when this closed, it should not have flopped to a buy. Okay. It should not have done that. It should have closed it all or had some kind of safety switch that says, hey, master's flat, this should be flat, or this exited, this like the exit all function. I just don't know why that's not built in very well.
Right.
It's not one thing though.
It-
Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not one.
Well, yeah, I kind of dealt with this when I was setting up
The
the
ATM.
connections between ATM and the buy sell buttons and or Swiss Army knife. And the way I solved that was to say, open up this percentage, close this percentage, including close 100%. So there's a kind of a built-in close all. Plus you've got stop loss and take profits, and a take profit level should close all. But if you're trying to disconnect because of disparate pricing between accounts that are being copied, you can't quite do that with levels. So you have to do it by giving percentage commands.
So you don't have that. I'll buy you a license for NinjaTrader if you want to test it for me and give me any bit of feedback because I know your brain would be valuable feedback, but I don't know what the best solution is to keep trying this because, like, for example, it's not the end of the deal. Like, I can take one trade and get to decent. Hold on, I'm technically up $1,000 on the day-ish, okay? But this is what that looks like. This is the master account, okay? These ones were minis, so they had bigger profit to not go into. This isn't a huge loss, okay? So it's small, but when it flops contracts like this, it's hard to stay green or it's hard. Like remember there's fees in and out, there's misnomers. So what should have been, I don't know, this would have been close to $1,500 on the day. The second trade would have put me close to $4,000 or $5,000 on the day. And that's obviously all together. So it sounds like a bigger number than it is. It's not a huge amount compared to 15 accounts. And this one's not taking, it's a live account. It just won't connect for some reason. But I can't seem to stop this from happening. And again, I'm undersizing so much where it's not blowing and I can make this up. It's irritating. I don't know how to fix it. It's irritating. No reason that should have happened. No reason. Because that was a take profit. I told you guys yesterday, I honestly think when it hits the take profit this happens most often when it hits a take profit, not a stop loss. I'm wondering if it has to do with like the limit order, like the stop or limit order setting. Um, again, I'm open to whatever feedback. And I've tried to get in touch with the people more from the developer of this, but it is what it is. I do. I think it happens most because the take profit was here.
So does the copier deal with stop loss and take profit levels? Or does it just do commands from the master?
The copier does do, I don't know how to answer that accurately.
Well, I mean,
I think it
so if
only
you're on
does.
an account that's copying, okay, so you got your master account, do you set a stop loss and take profit on your master account?
Yes.
And do those levels show up on the accounts that you're copying to?
No.
Okay. If the levels could be copied over, you're in a, that's assuming that the market is the same on all accounts, which it should be if they're properly connected to the market, because there is only one market in futures.
Yeah.
So if the stop loss and take profit levels could get installed, so that they're there, that would ensure that it closes all at that level.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure something out, or just I'm running out of patience, and again, I don't have a lot of quit in me. But again, if I just trade from Trade-of-8, I can't use the brackets, which is fine. I can get over that part, and I can mirror only Apex or something. But Apex is not paying me right now, ever, like at all. So Apex, I'm babying those accounts, just trying to keep PAs alive according to the rules. Every time I get close to a payout, there's always something. So big goals there. I'm not there. Not gonna fib. The rest of them are the ones who are paying me. So I don't know how to do this in the way that I wanted to do if I just don't stay on Trade-of-8. Because on Trade-of-8, I was doing just fine. Never had stuff like this happen. Ghost orders, which I've learned how to now look for and to delete. But I don't know, guys. Don't know how to. And from what I've seen and then that's what made me go down the YouTube rabbit hole for many months, was trying to find any one person who mirrored multiple firms at the same time successfully and long term. And I haven't found anyone who can say, look, I do this through lots of prop firms. I haven't found any one person who does this adequately, but I don't know. So I think it has to do with take profits. I think it has to do with order types. I think there's multiple things miscoded in that calculation. It's not one topic, it's actually a multiple amount of topics. Because again, like I told you, Scott, there's just all of those parts. That's saying that there's a crosswire in more than one part for that many different things to malfunction. But we'll see. Oh,
Wasn't Ricky doing multiple accounts?
I think he was using Traders Connect. And Traders Connect never had an issue. They do
Okay.
have Trade-of-8 now, but and I'd have to log back in. They do have Trade-of-8 now, number one, to the best of my knowledge. Don't quote me, guys. Check with them always first. Always go to the source. Uh, they do have the ability to have many accounts, as far as I know. I believe they upped that account limit as well, so it's not like stupid expensive per account anymore, which is great. But one of the reasons why I mean, it is an option, but it's a deficit by far, is you have to go in to each individual copier. And last I looked, they don't have like a big group level copier where I can set different risk and that doesn't take a crap ton of time. You're talking again, probably close to 6 to 10 hours a week to go in there and manually this account, wait for it to load, this setting, wait for it to do this setting, this, and then this setting, this. And that's a big time commitment. So that's why if I can make Ninja Trader work, it'd be great, because you just, once you're logged into that broker, it's click, 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 click. You reset it every day. It's mostly good. And this has been reset today, so it can't be that. They said, oh, we need to reset before you start trading. I've done that. It's reset every morning. And I turn it off like when I leave this class. I've gotten the habit of just turning it off, so there's no like continuously copying. Um, and I'm technically green on the day, which is like for TradeZella, that's fine. And manually, if the funded accounts that are red, I can go in and just do one little trade. I either win or lose and go from there, but it's a pain in the butt. Very big pain in the butt. Should not have entered that way. Should not have taken a buy. Micah, happy Thursday. Thank you for coming. Come and hang out, ask questions, talk. We're here to build a community. So the more you come out and talk, the more we'll get to know you. Your name is cool though. Your name is definitely cool. All right, guys, right on the day, Jonathan, I can't wait to see how this trade plays out. I've got it marked up. I'll take it off, but that's going to give you a 105. I'm guessing if 4 o'clock rolls around and you're not out, you have to go close your trade, right?
Yeah, I'd have to manually close it.
Huh.
I breached the account before and take profit because I had a trade open, so I forgot.
I know, right? I'd be the person who does that too, I promise. But we're right on the day. That's great. I got an entry here. We had a baby little entry here, and then had an entry here. Was trying to hold into here, which I did adequately. We took it exited me, and I bought back up some magical way. Must have been in here. Bought back up enough to get 20 bucks. Closed out at 7, or what I think was 7, and then by the time it goes to all the places, I'm sure it was not 7. But now I'm going to go in and review all those orders and kind of see. So overall, big picture move, beautiful move all the way down to, gosh, that's close to 100 points. Just to our little gray area. On the day, guys, we not only are in the direction of the 15-minute orb, but we also have effectively got below 50% of yesterday, and we're retesting now. So if we get back above and get a lot of steam, I'd be looking to take the highs. Be looking to take the upside liquidity. If not, I think we're getting our retest. We can come back in here. There's not a lot left behind. There's a couple of imbalances here to come back down. So we might get back above this 50%-ish, but maybe not by a whole bunch. Get back above it a little bit and then sell down on the day. So we'll see how it plays out. Baby steps, little by little. We're doing it. I should be up actually a lot on my Project X account if it's not knocked out. It should be up a lot because I took a sell on this.
One of the positives and negatives of holding is that it was like almost like 30 points from my TP. And the this bullish candle that closed downward is almost on the 15-minute, about to take that. So it may go up. If it doesn't, if it still holds and then it comes back down, then at least will give me opportunity for another entry towards my original target. But we'll see.
Very true. I'm
The
up
yin and the yang. It's the yin and the yang, right?
100%. I'm up $181 in my one micro. So just one micro on my Project X. This is mirrored to 4 accounts. They're all funded, but I only took the one entry. I took one and I knew we were going to get enough of a retracement overnight. Stop loss very far away. Was willing to take that risk. It's not a lot of risk. It's 175 in risk, 475 in profit. So I'm going to go to break even now. Let this play out. I just did one contract because it was overnight and we made 1.5% yesterday. So it wasn't worth taking more risk than that. But that's where we're sitting. So not a bad way to be. Would have been up a lot more points. Just like Jonathan said, had I been watching this and blah, 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 blah. That's another 50 points, 150-point trade. 150-point trade. Oh, hands free while you're sleeping. On a mini, you're a millionaire. But yeah, you guys get the idea.
Well, part of the reason I want to do this so bad is we're letting it ride out is that I can't help but every time look at the Monte Carlo and it tell you exactly how you can compound to like ridiculous amounts of money. But in order to take advantage of that, especially depending on what numbers or inputs you have, but if you're like using a 2-to-1 RR, you have to let the losses hit and let the plays go all the way as well
Wait,
to fully maximize on that.
can I be the devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
So like I was in a meeting with somebody again, he's been around like 5 years. He still listens to our calls. He's been in and out of the community. Beautiful couple. They are obviously they use a different one than the Monte Carlo, so I just told them about this one. But either way, they've been playing with that spreadsheet and what's possible, just like you. My devil's advocate speech is going to be that's way too small. Okay. Let's make this a little bit bigger. I don't want to do that. Sorry for the page 1, whatever. I don't know how to get out of that. View. Okay, let's ignore the page 1, whatever. I typed in this to help me get more comfortable with so you're doing your stuff to not play with your trades. I totally respect and I hear you. I did this to help me validate my ATM settings, number 1, for my AMP accounts. And then number 2, to help me validate my middle management. So if I manage the way I'm talking about managing, and these are actual over the course of like 40 some odd trades, kind of give you an idea, or however many trades it was, what I got. So on one of them, I got a 1.3, one of them, I got a 2.8. 1.6. I only got the bigger number. I think it was, I got a 7, and that's because that's the max it goes to on my settings on ATM. And then I got a 5 once. So only 3 out of these 20 some odd or whatever amount times did I hit this big number that's substantially larger than this, right? Notice the accuracy is incredibly low. Like most of us on this call can achieve this 65%. That is not high, obviously. But this example, just playing devil's advocate, equals a 2.3 to 1. Letting that middle management, so, oh, these are 3s, play out. So some of them are 0.7 to 1. Some of them are 0.09. This was obviously a break-even trade. I shouldn't have counted it, but I did. 1.6, 2.1, 2.9. But these are real life examples. And obviously I can't duplicate this on futures because I don't have the same control like I do with the ATM. And that's where I'm still struggling. But just so you know, this is with middle management and it still averages over the course of this many trades a 2.3 to 1 because sometimes, and it's only going to be, this is, what is that? 2 out of 20. So I can do better math than this. That's 10% of the time. 10% of the time did you hit that big runner, which is pretty on point, right? Only 5-10% of the time are we going to hit the big runner. The rest of the time we're going to get some of the break evens. This is better than break even. 0.5 to 1 I would count as better than break even. This I would barely count as better than break even, but real numbers, real life. I'm using this. I typed all this in and averaged it out, okay, to validate me trying to find some middle ground settings for my futures approach, which I'm doing manually. It does math out that I can get better than the 2 to 1. And again, if I average a 2 to 1, and that's still an obscene amount of money, I need to get out of this view. Default. I have no idea how to do this, you guys. Custom view. I don't want a custom view. It's all kinds of janky. Janky. Sorry for the view. It's weird.
You know what? Turning off that page break preview up at the top there, that should make the numbers go away. Well, it's not coming off, is it?
View is not compatible. The view, yeah, I should be able to get out of that page break view. Huh. What if I just want to view one page? Custom view.
Yeah, it's zoomed in too large to fit on a page is the problem right now.
Oh, gotcha. Huh. Oh, so if I just unzoom back to, no, because I've never seen this before.
Okay,
And you click on where it says normal.
That would be such a smart, gosh, Brika. Hey, Brika, thanks for being the normal one.
Anytime. Sometimes on a Tuesday.
Only on Tuesdays at noon. I felt that. But Jonathan, this is what I did. It just helped me validate, and I'm trying to accomplish something like this with futures and accept the times. And so this is obviously only the winning trades. So figured 65% of those are going to be losing trades, but I wanted to see what was happening on the winning trades, obviously, because the losings are obviously negative, whatever, they're negative, period. So that's it. It was not a bad way to be. This helped me kind of. And then I was talking to Robert, trying to talk to him about where he was at. This was, I would type that out for Robert in a meeting that we had, just showing, look, it's okay at the end of the day. If you stay this course, it's okay. Oh, on his TradeZella, I was like, where did this come from? On his TradeZella, he had a 0.62. On my TradeZella, I had a 2.3 for that particular account, just proving what's possible. And TradeZella's results don't work out too close to this. They're actually decently far off, but the big picture is kind of still seen. So that's not bad. I would like to accomplish this on futures, but it's still such a process. It's such a process by far. So,
Hey Jenny, can I ask a quick question?
uh-huh.
So when it comes to like compounding, because I know that's something that you've talked about, and then I love the Monte Carlo as well. So what do you think as far as a strategy? Like once, let's say the settings that you have up there, so that starting balance and all of that kind of stuff. At what point would you think like or what are your recommendations for a strategy as withdrawing from that? Because sometimes we don't want to touch the goose, right? You touch the eggs, but not the goose. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. So it depends on where you're at in life. Like if you're a single parent, you are looking at money differently. And I know that's kind of just an example, but it really depends. Do you have other income? Like for me, to me, Scott's a big advocate of this. Get back to, break even as close to possible. So take out the original investment. And then even if you blow this account, you're still net break even. You got a lesson and time invested, but no dollars, right? That is not a bad process. So for example, you started with $1,000 on my AMP stuff. I'm doing a little bit more risk. My average is a little bit higher, but this is an insane amount of money. Okay. Obviously you're not going to hit that all the time. Let's find one that's less, multimillionaire. It's going to be a little hard. Oh, there we go. 37. Let's do 100,000. Okay. Six-figure trading coach. Okay. Very doable, but you have to decide where you're at in life. So it depends. Do you have debt that's costing you 24%? Because if you do, I would be withdrawing, every basically 2 weeks or every month based off of how many trades I'm taking, right? And just pay the piper, pay down the debts. I would do that first. It depends. Are you trying to buy a house? I would take out my original investment and leave the rest in. Okay. My goal would be to get to the down payment on the house. And that's when I would withdraw. Let's say the down payment on the house is 50,000, because that's pretty close to 10%, right? On $500,000 house, you need 20% to avoid the PMI though, so probably should double that. But at 50,000, like this is the bare minimum I need to hit my next level up in life, right? So whatever that is for you, if that's paying off medical debt, if that's buying a house, if it's buying an Airbnb, if it's starting a business, I would get to this number. For the love of God, don't take one more trade. So many of us do that. I do that. I've done it a bajillion times, and it's always the time you're psychologically and emotionally wounded, and then you mess up a lot. So you get near this number, okay? That means you get close to here or here, anywhere in this window. Don't look for the one more trade. Withdraw everything but the $1,000, okay? Or you can start a little bit higher if you want. If you want to kind of skip this kind of slow grind at the beginning, withdraw everything but $5,000, right? Withdraw it. It's safe. It's done. It's out of the way. Don't take the one more trade. That's huge. Don't take the one more trade. That's huge. Don't do it. And now put that into your high interest savings or USDC. I'm a big advocate of USDC. And now that's earning money while you're house shopping or while you're looking for the car or while you're, getting all the business documents in line or whatever your next level up is.
What's USDC paying these days?
I think with it's close to 5%. I don't know. They have another new thing that if you have more than X amount, it's 5%. If you
No, that's better than my high yield savings account. That's dropped down to 3.2 now.
I'm so mad at those accounts. I was so excited about them because you guys kind of turned me on to them because I'd never really been cash heavy. And then it just kept going down and down and down, and I was getting sadder and sadder and sadder. And I was like, okay, I don't like these accounts anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to move it over to SGov now. It's a short-term treasury
Treasuries are
fund.
good.
It's yielding about 4% at the moment.
There you go. But anything's going to get you 4 or 5% interest, okay? So that's where I put that. And then the blessing to that is, as you got to that 40,000, now you've proven you've got the skill set. So let's say the next time you do this, it fails. And I'm sorry, but high risk trading and psychology and stuff is going to fail. You have evidence. You've got confidence that knows you can do it again. So you can take $1,000, start again. That's number one. But number two, when should you withdraw when you're compounding like this? It really depends on how much money you've made in your lifetime, in my opinion, because we all have these psychological numbers, which we haven't talked about in ages, but we all have these psychological numbers that we've never seen money bigger than that. Like maybe you've only ever made $50,000 in a year. Maybe you didn't come from much and $100,000 is a lot of money to you. Maybe for you, having a 5-figure account that's like nearing 12,000 is a lot. And if for you that number of 12,000 is a lot, I would super recommend withdrawing the 10 and starting back at the 1 or 2. So, start a little bit higher so you can kind of avoid this slow grind part. Cool. Keep the 2. But if for you, you've never made more than $12,000 in a month and you just made $12,000, this took you 2.5 weeks, please take out that 12,000. Please take out 10 of that.
And when that number becomes a house payment or your rent, it's a hard thing to get past.
The loss you just took,
Yeah.
the win you just took,
Or
this
the
is the win.
potential loss, or the potential loss.
Yeah.
You start to look at, okay, I'm risking the price of my car on a trade. That is a difficult thing to get over until you become accustomed to it.
Which brings up another good point, Scott. Actually, yeah, this is projected potential risk per trade, right? Or projected win per trade, depending on how you want to look at it. Like mine is programmed to risk per trade.
Yeah, 5% of balance, I think is what you're set to.
Yeah. So when this is more than what you're used to, that's obviously what Scott just said. That's huge. But I have another thing to add. Okay, you're going to withdraw when the psychological number is bigger than something you're accustomed to. And you'll know if you have any self-awareness, you're going to feel the itch. And you have to be honest with yourself, though. That's hard. Most of us are not nearly as self-aware as we claim to be. In fact, they polled 98, a whole bunch of people. 90 some odd percent of people said they were self-aware, and only like 10% of those people, when tested, proved to be accurate. Okay. So self-awareness is not something that just comes naturally. It takes work. Okay. I digress. Back to the point. You've got to know yourself and know, hey, I've honestly I've never had 20,000 in a savings account. I've never had that much. I know that number is an itch for me. And I don't know what that is, because some of you guys have 6 figures in a savings account. Some of you guys have $500,000 in your investment accounts, your retirement account. Some of you guys have $7,000 in your, Roth IRA, and that's it. So it really depends on where you're at. But I'm going to add one more thing to that. When do you know when it's time to withdraw as you're doing one of these compounding challenges, whether it's on your prop firms or your personal account? I think this is way easier on your personal account, but that's my opinion. Is when you've hit that next level. So let's say you took your prop firm from the 50,000 and you're up to 75, take a break. And that is the hardest thing to do when you're up that much, right? You've just doubled, that's 25,000. So you made 50%, not technically doubled. Take a break. And that is not a very popular opinion, but take a break. You have just turned $1,000 into, let's say you that 20,000, and you can withdraw. You're starting back at 2,000, but take a break, because it does stuff to you psychologically that, again, going back to that self-awareness topic, we don't really recognize inside of ourselves. And we all have it, some of us more so than others, but take a break. And when I say a break, I mean at least a day off from the charts, preferably 72 hours, to where, hey, I've done this. Okay, I made the 20,000, or I made the whatever number that I was, looking for. I've withdrawn some. I'm not going to talk about, watch YouTube, trade, chart, nothing for 3 days. Take a break to regroup, because taking a hit, whether it's a plus 30,000 or down 30,000, that size, the plus or the minus, and no one thinks about the plus side, it does mess with your psychology. It just puts more pressure. Again, that next amount of risk is now bigger than your mortgage payment in some places, right? That next amount of risk is getting bigger and bigger if you didn't withdraw. Now, when you go back in, let's say you did withdraw, you got the 25,000, you withdrew some, you're starting back at 2 to 5,000. Now you have to start over and you're seeing $100 gains. It messes with you. It messes with you on both sides, both the positive and the negative, the less risk and the more risk. Because the last trade you took was a $3,000 risk, and now you're back at taking this trade that is a $100 risk. That is psychologically difficult sometimes to transition, whether or not we want to account for that. So the next thing I'd say is, when you hit those levels, both on the I grew it or I blew it side, please make sure you take a break. A couple of days, preferably, where you just vetoed all things trading. You blocked all things that are YouTube, trading, actually, charting, podcasts, and clear your mind. Because something my big brother taught me a long time ago, I was in my early 20s. And at the time, like, I was listening to every motivational speaker, preacher, person imaginable. Okay, we've got Tony Robbins, we've got Danny Johnson, we've got Les Brown, we've got every major thing, and I had them in my ears 24 hours a day. Literally, I had it on my sound bars at home. I had it on my phones in my car 24 hours a day. And something my big brother told me was, remember, we can't absorb anything. If you're constantly pouring into that pitcher, if you're constantly pouring into a sponge, it stops absorbing after a while, right? There's just nowhere for it to go. You've got to let some of that stuff digest. You've got to let some of it sit in, soak in, sink out, dissipate, hold on to the parts that matter. But we can't just keep pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. So on that mindset, we take a break when we hit major moments. And major moments could for you be 5,000, 20,000, 10,000. For somebody else, maybe it's six figures. For somebody else, maybe it's a seven. Okay. My next,
Major moments are pluses and minuses.
yes, my next major moment is going to be seven figures. So that's what I'm looking to accomplish. And I definitely think it's within the grasp of what I've accomplished thus far. I have not accomplished the seven figures in a, single account. In a trading account, I'd like to get that single seven figure, whatever, in prop firms or personal. I'm targeting prop firms right now, which is new and costly, but that's where we're going. Same thing. You take a six-figure hit, you take a $5,000 hit, you got to take a break. And it's the last thing you want to do because you're like, I got to make it back. Or, hey, I did so well, I got to keep trading. Don't do it. Don't do it. So,
That voice in your head is the one that gets you in deep trouble.
that is the little demons on your shoulder. What are those called? Little yokais? Noah used to watch this little anime with like yokai, and I loved the concept. I'm not big on anime, but the concept of like little different suited gremlins. Like this gremlin makes you eat too much. This gremlin, makes you lie. This little gremlin makes, it attaches on to little parts of you and like creates little ickies in you. I love the concept because those are little demons on your shoulder. That's what they are. Little bad. They're not the angel, basically. They're not the angel. So, but what do you think, Breaka? That sound like a good?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll probably replay this part. I think it's really powerful. Because I know we talk about different strategies from time to time, so it's like, okay, it's good to revisit and to even have the input from you guys. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. Even something like this, you guys, when you were taking $1,000 risk per trade, I know this doesn't look measurably different, but it is psychologically. And like you took a couple of losses, which is part of your trading plan. When you're back to this, these trades feel different than this one did. That you're more defeated because you've lost more on these two than you probably won on these ones. Because again, they were higher risk as you compound up. So you've got to know what you're doing in terms of when to slow down, when to say, I don't have to trade today. Don't
Yeah,
need to
you
today.
went from 16 down to 11.
Yeah.
And that's $5,000 down. And you still have to keep trading.
Yeah. And that's 30% of your account. So it's not just 5,000, it's 30%. It's a
Yep.
big, that's not a small amount. That's 30%, especially as this gets bigger. That's a lot. It's hard. It's hard.
What's interesting though is that like even if you take those lumps, if you stick with the averaging down when you do have those lost days, you can make it up fairly quickly. And vice versa, keep losing it fairly quickly. But the thing is just continuing to just go by the numbers and then continue to average in higher or lower, and then letting the numbers play out at the end, because it goes back to some of the things that you've always said, Jenny, as well, is looking at your RI at the end of the month as opposed to where you are for each particular day.
I think that one of the reasons I have a hard time getting closer to that seven figures is because as this number gets bigger, my psychology still trips up. So when the risk on my trade is $50,000, $25,000, $30,000, it's different. That's a Honda. I mean, it doesn't have leather seats, but it's a Honda. It's been a while since I bought a car, but that's a Honda. Like one more time, that's a whole car. And there's so many people, and that is hard to deal with for me, that I'm taking this trade and I'm going to lose what would change somebody else's life, I still, just being transparent with where I'm at in my journey, I hit these big numbers just fine, and then I kind of get closer to that $50,000 risk per trade, and I typically get pretty tripped up because, again, one trade on what? Because Trump tweeted, or because I was took the wrong direction, or because the market was the market. That's a lot. It's a lot. So you got to know your levels, and sometimes they're not as easy to see as you think they are. So pay attention to that, and hopefully that helps. But Jonathan, this was for you. I did this with ATM. I'm trying to duplicate it. I'm not having a bunch of success using all these different ATM settings on Tradeovate. It's a lot easier to do on the ATM for MT5, but this is very possible, even if sometimes you get that outsized win and then the rest of times you get these outsized losses or small gains. That still equals the same thing as if I had done flat in, flat out. It's what it averages out to be. So that's helping me justify my middle management. Not to say I've arrived on it yet, because I definitely haven't. I can't find a duplicatable way to achieve it. Working on it, but yeah, I can't
Yeah.
wait to see.
I see your point. Yeah, the averaging out over time. You know, you have some days that it doesn't work in a positive in your way, and then some days it does work positively for you or beyond positive. So
Yeah.
I also don't see any negative numbers in there.
Well, no, this is only averaging the positive. So the negative is the negative, no matter what. The negative.
Okay.
So I, what I was just trying to prove, so the loss is always -1 by this math, right? Or in this case, it's -7, right? But if I got a 7-to-1 trade and I was risking 7%, right? This is a 49% gain. The loss is always the percentage lost. So that's, I was just trying to show what my average achieved win is, okay? If I don't mess with anything else. So my loss is still whatever my 7%. But in this case,
Okay.
this would be 21. Well, technically it's 23%. In this case, it's, barely, it's probably 6% of a gain. The loss is always going to be whatever this percentage is of a gain so the loss is the loss, but your average win is what we're calculating here. The
Okay.
average win, risk to reward. So we'll see. I'm working on achieving this. I haven't figured it out yet, guys. I'm still trying. Ninja Trader for the crap ton fest today. It's not fine, you guys. It's not fine, but that we've had a good day. We got our sell. We're bouncing back up. It kind of interesting that we bounced right off of. It's funny because the indicator shows the end of that session open high close shows our yesterday's mid here. I show our yesterday's mid here. I don't know how they're calculating what they're calculating, but I'm reasonably sure I can measure 50% from 9:30 to maybe they're doing from 4, but even then it wouldn't justify. Maybe. But that's where we bounced off of, and we also bounced right off of yesterday's point of control. So this little SVP, well, you guys can't see that right now. I'll move that over. It's the session volume profile. This is where we bounced off of. So it kind of is showing us, as long as we're staying above yesterday's point of control, we're still in a buying trend. 100%. Now, if we get below that and stay below it, we're going to come down and take all this imbalance that we left behind and find some balance in the market. So
Yeah, it's also to note is that it's yesterday's VWAP close.
this prices.
Yeah. So look where VWAP does the big
Oh my gosh,
dive up.
I didn't
Yep.
even notice that.
So, and then the other thing is that that happens to be right around the monthly VWAP, this point here.
Nice.
well,
This
maybe
was
I
the
should have
weekly
closed right there.
VWAP.
That explains the bounce though. That definitely makes sense with the bounce.
Actually, you guys, I wonder something because yesterday's point of control, yesterday's close of VWAP.
I don't think that's necessarily the same. The calculations are different. The point of control calculation is different. I'm
I
just
know.
saying it happens to coincide.
Yeah, today it coincides. I was just wondering how often that kind of happens. Again, we usually come back down to it. This is where we came back down to. Once we got below it, we retested and we dropped. We got stuck again there. And then we just went up. The current one doesn't matter as much because, well, it does, but it's constantly moving. So I'd be looking at yesterday's. But here we are, 2-minute time frame. Not a bad trading day, not great management. Still working on the management. Trading, I got in the bag. The rest of it, I'm gonna have to do some work. Got the work to do. And on that note, I'm gonna go yap at Ash for a little while, and then I've got some meetings. Thank you for the book recommendations. I super appreciate it. And happy Thursday. So we will see you guys next week. Guys, we're trying to grow this community. If you have not done so, tell a friend, repost, share, like. I'm not a queen of social media. I never wanted to be. I think it's a waste. I know that's horrible, but it is the truth. Let's all go by the truth. It's a good place to be. But please do like, comment, share, do all the things that are going to get us in front of more people. The update for automation is out this week. Developers should have everything pretty much wrapped up. We're thinking he's got a lot of stuff going on with the military stuff he's got this week. So it might be a little bit longer for the final touches and the end-to-end stress test. But everything is also being in syncly moved over to NinjaTrader. So NinjaTrader's ATMs are flawless. I'm not saying for CompuTrading. I never said that. That's not it. Okay, it is not fine. But the ATMs and the actual execution is 100% flawless. So that's kind of cool, very exciting.
Yeah, that unfortunate name.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, the ATM. Yeah, now we never know, huh?
Yep.
NinjaTrader calls it ATM. TraderBait calls it ATM.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when I first saw it on Tradeovate.
Sorry, Scott. But honestly,
Yep.
yours is still the best. Like again, no different. And we got that message the other day in the meeting that, hey, we should have 1 million views. I honestly think your ATM, and I told you this off session, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I know you haven't been as involved and whatever, but I honestly think your brain building something for NinjaTrader and TradeStation or TradeAvate if you can would be second to none because the stuff that currently exists, it sucks, Scott. It sucks a lot. And I'm telling you that honestly. It's suck a luck a lot. And the worst part is they're selling that for like 3,000, some of these like $3,000 and they suck. So at least I know you sold yours $1,000 and it wouldn't suck. Okay. And I know, but we're probably not going to get 1 billion sales. I know, but we just have to own the reality there. But I'm telling you, it's worth it because yours wouldn't suck.
There'd be a lot more people who would be interested on the futures end, and I think a lot more serious people who would take advantage of that type of trade management than what we saw on the forex side, especially in the
Yeah, I
States.
just don't know what's possible, I'd have to get NinjaTrader and play around with it, I guess.
You should do that. If only for self-serving purposes. I have no shame in saying that, okay? Yes, it'll help the community. Yes, you'll probably make some money. But even for self-serving purposes, you definitely should do that. Okay? Because everything out there, not good. Not good.
I don't know how much money you need to put into the NinjaTrader brokerage in order to get access to the platform for a
Um,
good time.
you'd want to buy the data feed, which is a couple bucks a month. And then it's just like a TradeAvate account. You need like 500,000 bucks to have a live account, but you're allowed to run sim on there. You don't have to have any money.
Yeah. But
Just saying.
I think there's a monthly fee if you don't have money in the brokerage.
For NinjaTrader?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there? I don't know. Well, I pay the monthly fee and I have money in there, so I don't know. I have both. Here we go. That's that retest. Not too shabby. So I'm up 192. We're killing it. Yay. Can't with this. But my trade debate's not up 192. Stupid. Stupid heads. But that's okay. Hey, I'm gonna pop off, guys. Go walk this dog, do all the things, and FaceTime. And I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. Do something that gets off the charts. Remember, we started trading for time freedom. We started trading for personal growth, financial freedom, financial growth, peace. Don't get sucked in and trapped into all the nonsense. Find your strategy, find your person or your group. It doesn't have to be me. Of course, I want it to be 1,000%. But and just stay there. You've got your one and done. Go post it in the chat. Say done for the day and honestly be done for the day. Like, no, we don't need nothing else. Like, that's the whole purpose of why we're here. Not to be trading around the clock and giving and making and losing money 100 times. So happy trading. Happy Thursday. I love you all. Take care and God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye,
Jenny.
guys.
Bye, everybody.